So if you're watching this video, you're either a guardian who enjoys using hand cannons and is looking for some tips, or maybe you've just been feeling the range nerf to hand cannons and you feel like they're unusable. Regardless, guys, of whatever it may be, you found yourself the right video. In today's video, we're going to be going over some hand cannon tips that can help you either shake off this range nerf or ultimately just help you utilize hand cannons better in this new meta. So without wasting any time, let's get to the first tip, which is going to be based around visuals and understanding your range. Pretty much seeing your max damage. Now I'm going to say that with whatever hand cannon you use, your range will fall somewhere between 28 to 30 meters. Now, why am I going to be showing you this 30 meters? This is what 30 meters looks like. This is your engagement distance. All right, before we move on to the next part, guys, I'm going to beat this into you. This is 30. This is your range. This is your full damage. It could be 28 to 30, whatever it may be. You see this guardian. Once you start engaging out of this distance, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. Again, guys, this is your range. Will there be times you have to fight outside your recommended range? Yes. Say you flank and have a guardian not looking at you. But you never want to begin your engagement outside your range if you don't have to. Remember this visual. This is your engagement. Now, number two, guys. Number one was visual and understanding your range. Number two, guys, selective engagements. Now, when it comes to dealing with a hand cannon, several factors come into play. Let's use the first tip we talked about today in this video and put it into our current tip. When someone is outside your recommended range, what is your next option? Well, you either need to decide to leave them and look for another target. If you're playing sixes, you don't always have to kill the enemy in front of you. If that person is out of your range, you can go find someone else who's closer, who's in your ideal range. Or if that is your target, you need to find a better way to get to them. Find a better angle that is going to allow you to either get the advantage or an angle to where your damage drop off isn't as severe. Because if you are fighting a target at 50 meters away, they're going to just mow you down with an Outlast or a Mida and go on about their day. So still on the topic about selective engagements, say you turn the corner. You see two enemies. You jump over a platform, a pillar. You're playing fragment. You hop over the wall. You're looking at B flag. And now you see two enemies. Now you need to make the smart decision here. Because before this range nerf, from that pillar and fragment where you jump over, you see Bravo flag, you could easily 3-tap both enemies. But if you're outside of your recommended range and you start experiencing damage drop off, well, what happens? Your 3-tap now becomes a 4 to 5 shot engagement. Say you're dealing 50 crit shot damage. You already need 4 shots to kill. Going against two enemies, guys, that is going to be an 8-shot battle. So engagements like that, you either have to tell yourself, I got to split these guys, I got to draw them out one-on-one, or I just got to go on about my day. That is right there being selective engagements. Now that hand cannons have this range nerf, you need to be very selective of your engagements, because if you engage too far, you're going to get mowed down. If you engage multiple enemies and you are out of your recommended range, visualizing, the first engagement, the 30 meters, if you're out of there and you're doing 50 to the head, just know it's going to take you 4 to 5 shots if you don't miss. Number 3, and it's one of my favorite tips in this entire video, it's going to be cover and close the gap. We've been spoiled, guys. We've had hand cannons that can shoot really far distances, and you didn't need to utilize cover when moving into a new engagement. Now that we are limited on range, cover is much more necessary. So bouncing off the last topic of selective engagements, how do we go about getting a better angle? Well, it's very simple. When you move towards your enemy, you need to use any and every piece of landscape to your advantage. Take Widow's Court. You know that broken down bus looking thing? Slide behind that and stay low to the ground. The last thing you want to do is have someone pick you off with a scout rifle before you can make your way towards them. One thing I've been using a lot lately is staying close to walls and utilizing walls as my cover to avoid engagements. Where I feel like if I'm not close to a wall, I'm too exposed. And when I'm too exposed, I have no avenue for retreat. So anything that can provide you cover is going to be something you need to utilize to your advantage, especially if you're trying to close the gap on an enemy. Speaking of cover and, closing the gap, I do want to mention that since you're utilizing a hand cannon, you have the best peak firing weapon in the game. You may want to add that to your book of engagements. Hand cannons are the best weapon for peak firing, getting in and out of cover, firing, going back behind cover, peeking out, firing, and doing that all over again. Remember that, guys. You have hand cannons. They don't know when you're going to peek. You peek, you fire, you cover, you do it all over again. Then you slowly make your way to your enemy. If it's going to be utilizing bushes, hugging the wall, utilizing that radar, okay, he's right there. I don't want to expose myself way too much. That right there, guys, is going to be utilizing cover and closing the engagements. Cover is just dire when you're utilizing a hand cannon on Meltdown, when you're utilizing a hand cannon on Widow's Court, when you're utilizing a hand cannon on Fragment. Cover is necessary. So number 4, guys, which is going to be another one, avoid lanes. With hand cannons, we're limited to how far we can deal our max damage, which is why lanes are death traps. The last thing you want to do is be out in the open and find yourself unable to defend yourself. Say you're not using cover and someone starts popping shots at you with a pulse rifle from a distance. With your hand cannon, you're dead. Sure, if you had a scout, you had a potential to win that engagement, but you have a hand cannon. So to my hand cannon means your goal is to avoid lanes. That right there, guys, is dire. If you're moving from point A to point B, the last thing you want to do is run down a lane. Because when you're stuck in the middle of a lane, that is it. Sure, pulse rifles can fight back. Sure, scout rifles can fight back. But when you have a hand cannon, the last thing you want to do is be in an engagement where the guy's 60 meters away, 70 meters away. He's putting shots into you with a Mida multi-tool, and you don't know what to do, but I got to run. I got to hide because it's 4 shots for you to die with the Mida. The last one, guys, which is going to be another one. This is going to be a huge topic we're going to hit right now. It's going to be awareness, habits, and traversing the map. So I'm going to leave it with this one here, right? And this is my final tip, which in my opinion is the harder one to implement into your game. 3 things that can help you, 3 things that can really ruin your game. It's going to be terrible map awareness, old habits, and the way you traverse the map. Bad map awareness and radar awareness will lead to unnecessary deaths. You can essentially avoid unnecessary deaths. Your radar is so powerful and it can paint a picture for you. For example, if I see red on my radar and I turn this corner, will the enemy be right in front of me or are they going to be several meters away? By using that right there to your advantage, you can essentially tell yourself, maybe this engagement isn't worth it. I need to move to a better spot. Lastly, guys, habits and traversing the map. Recently, I've been using a hand cannon nonstop, and I can say that one thing I've had to implement in my game style is the way I traverse the map, the way I move around the map. When I move from one point to another has changed a lot. Normal lanes I used to take pre-Shadowkeep, pre-hand cannon nerf are not my go-to anymore, and they're not ideal because of the range fights. I'm not going to fight in those range. Bad habits will lead you into those lanes. Sometimes taking that long hallway, that long road in Midtown isn't the best option for you anymore. Maybe you got to hug the left wall towards the river area. Maybe those engagements are better for you. See, I now see myself taking routes and avenues that provide me with cover to avoid shots from enemies. When I move from the Church and Widow's Court to the Power Ammo Tower, I don't take the direct path there, since that has way too many lanes and I could die from it. Sure, it may be a little bit extra, but at the end of the day, it's rewarding knowing I went into a match with a hand cannon, especially on a big map, and found ways to prevail against my enemies. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. These are just my 5 tips. I didn't want to go too much into it. I do have a script. If you guys can't tell, guys, I'm reading from a script because it's hard to paint. It's hard to just spitball this because it's not. There's a lot of complicated things. I can say that I've used a hand cannon in over 85 to 95% of my games if I wasn't making a video on something else. And those little tips, guys, understanding your range, seeing those 30 meters, knowing that this is my 30 meters. This is where I need to stay in there. Selecting your engagements. I know it sounds dumb. A lot of people are like, well, Brave, I'm not going to engage 2 people. Back in the day when you had a spare rations, you can 3-tap and 3-tap, or last word, you can 3-tap. That was ideal. but not anymore. You know, cover is something I talk about a lot. If you guys haven't seen my gameplay, my live commentaries, I recommend you watch them. I talk about cover all the time, and cover being a key aspect for closing the gap. There are so many resources out in these maps, landscapes out in these maps. If it be a pillar, you hide behind that pillar and you make your way to another pillar, as opposed to just being that one guy who's just running from point A to point B out in the open. That person's looking to die. Avoiding lanes, guys, is something that just get out of the habit of just running down stupid lanes. Bad habits will lead you traversing the map terribly. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know it's a little bit longer than my normal videos. This is just my thoughts on hand cannons. Overall, I have a video on my thoughts on the hand cannon changes and what I would do if I was to do anything in a later video. Overall, guys, I'm gonna be out of town this weekend, so if you guys want to catch my upcoming videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and do all that good stuff. Share this video with your friends who think hand cannons are dead, because they're not. They just require more skill to use. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, did you enjoy the video? Click right there for a random video. Click right there for my latest video. Stay up to date with BRAVExHERO. If you haven't followed me on Twitch, I recommend it. Go do it right now. Twitch.tv/BRAVExHERO. New to the channel, subscribe button right there. Click it. Do it now. I'll see you guys in the next video.